Hello and welcome to episode 25 of our Timberborn 1.0 no longer experimental playthrough on the Ant Farm map. Cycle 26, day 18. About a third of the way through a drought cycle here, and of course, recent improvements to this map have gone incredibly well after we almost died without managing to kill any beavers at all. But we need to integrate more of our production to the top. We need to finish this monument. We need to plant a whole bunch more trees and crops and all that good stuff. So that is what we are going to be doing today. We have room here to put in a little bit more in the way of some industry things. We could also have industry kind of come over the top on this side, or what might actually end up being a little bit easier is cantilevering on the other side of here, taking these double platforms out, replacing them with single platforms, and then some overhangs, especially because we have these food factories here that can transmit power across. But we have a couple more pressing issues on our hand, and that is, if we're going to have our final goal, the Earth Repopulator, going off, it's going to take us a long time to get 2,000 treated planks, because this is not enough pine trees for us to be able to do all of this. Even though we haven't harvested all of the resin from here, it's simply not enough trees unless I was going to wait another, like, 8 cycles to do this, which I really don't think we're going to do. So we need to have more storage for pine resin. We need to have more of these planks being made. And then we need to figure out a way to actually sustainably produce more and more and more stuff. And that is, of course, going to be possible by removing some things from down here. But as you know, it is not a fast process. So we do need to focus on trying to separate all of our land at the very bottom here from this bad water. Well, it's not a bad water source. It's a bad water. What's this thing called? Bad water discharge. There you go. Kind of like what we did here with our contamination irrigation barriers. I didn't bother doing one over here just because, well, on the bottom I didn't, but up here I did. This one might be a little bit more complicated because this support goes so far out. But I think it's probably going to be fine because, you know, the contamination only goes to about here. And if we have this entire thing separated along the backside, which is pretty easy to do with the help of these tunnels, which just put platforms in place, I think it's going to be all right. But we do have to be able to get back here, and we have to make sure we don't undermine any of the supports for the upper levels while we're doing that. And then we additionally need to find somewhere for all of this stuff to go. And that's kind of already been, I won't say solved because we have very, very limited production capacity. But it is something that is possible for us to improve even just a tiny bit. We do have resin that has not been collected. We have the wood workshop that does not have any resin. So clearly something is wrong. And that, of course, is the Tapper Shack being paused. So we're going to get somebody in there. I would like to see how this performs with what we already have before I plant any more trees. But we already know we're going to have more trees anyway. I just don't know exactly what that's going to look like. I think if we start construction on this thing as soon as we can, which we only have 2,100 science, so it's not going to be right now, we're going to have a better idea of what we're actually going to need. Also, I don't know, it's going to take a while for this stuff to get made. But in terms of science, we're not going to get any of that until the number cruncher is connected back to the power network. This is, if I can actually click on it, something that we can build in terms of accessibility. We just don't have gears right now, and they are working on fixing that problem. Lumber mills, of course, have been automated by the plank timer. Gears are automated as well, but, you know, okay, I was about to say, these shouldn't be paused. How do I actually have this set? The plank counter. Where is the plank counter? Is that this? Yes. Oh, I have it at 20%. Okay. That's right. I forgot that I'd done that. Well, I don't really have enough trees available to cut to raise this much. So I guess this is okay, but we're going to have our work cut out for us. We've got coffee that has grown up. We do have a gatherer flag that is gathering the coffee. But we do not have a coffee brewery that has actually been constructed because that is behind a whole bunch of other stuff, including gears, which we are currently lacking, and treated planks, which we are currently lacking, as well as metal blocks, which you will never guess. But maybe you can. They're currently lacking. So these guys have plenty of stuff to do. And I do have extra beavers. These are fully involved here. I think if you count the things that are currently automated and paused, we're not in a terrible spot with regard to having too many beavers. But I think we can kind of solve this problem by just taking care of planting and harvesting more trees. I don't know that there's any lumberjack flags that are paused. There are not. This other wood workshop down here is paused, but I don't think I'm going to have enough planks to reliably have that going too long. That being said, it's still there and I haven't gotten rid of it, so we might as well run it because we have the beavers. Otherwise, this lumber mill, I don't want to have too many going at once because, well, you're going to run into problems if you have too many trees cut down because you need logs also. The rest of this fluid dump, manually paused. That one's down there. We don't need to worry about it. I don't need dynamite at the exact moment. We might later. And I don't think we need... Well, we will need scrap metal. I don't know if we need it right now. Even so... Well, okay, you know what we do need? We need enough scrap metal for me to be comfortable putting, let's say, 5 beavers in this. I'm going to stop using the treated planks and the extract to do it. Unfortunately, I do still need treated planks. Wait, you know what? No, there's no advantage to not doing that. Never mind. I would say do as I say, not as I do, but for me, it's probably better to do neither of those things and just draw your own conclusions based on what you see work and not work for me. Let's see, there's a bunch of other stuff you guys have been really good about leaving comments on things. We do need to connect all of these things together. And I think probably the best thing for us to do is to put a tunnel underneath here. Because this is going to keep this filled up. I put in, right here, a fill valve that has a target height of 0. Why did I set that to be a target height of 0? I guess I could have this be a target height of, say, 0.3 maybe, just to keep some water in there. We're not super low on it right now, but there's so many little problems that are nagging that I'd like to fix. Why did I take that back up? Anyway, we do need to connect this, and I do need to save this land up here, so the tunnel underneath here is probably going to be the best way to go about it. This does mean that we're going to lose a couple of these mangrove trees, but to be perfectly honest, I'm not really that worried about it. Yeah, trees are going to go away. I don't think I can get in here normally to get rid of those trees with the builder. Maybe I can, because, you know, the builders only have a certain range from a path that they can operate with. And if I come in from below, it might actually be easier. Do I really want... Oh, okay, it's just planks. I'm not going to go sleep over it. But that'll get this connected here. Completely connected all the way through, which should help long term. I also do want to raise this level 1 block, which does mean that this set of deep water pumps is going to have to go somewhere else. I just don't know that I have somewhere that makes sense. If we want... I keep putting this all the way back up, and I shouldn't. If we want to blow this out so I can put pumps here instead in this lower area, that might actually work a little bit better. But again, this is one of those things that isn't really set up super great. Just based on how this is going here. These two natural overhangs we probably don't need. I do want this maybe to stay. Actually, no, because this is going to be irrigated from down here. I actually don't need that. So what I could do... I don't need to complicate it. without doing too much else, I can come in here and put in 2 pumps and 2 pumps here. You know what? We might as well. Might as well do it. But before we do, I need to make sure I'm not going to need a bunch more dirt basically ever. If I'm going to have a mud bath, that's going to be a problem because for me to make this any deeper, I'm not going to be able to have the dirt excavator here. This takes up a lot of space. This is really a good spot for it. In terms of, you know, not disrupting anything else, but it can't really run without that being a problem. What am I supposed to do about that? Because I can't really get power over here very easily. I could maybe put a shaft coming down here, but to be perfectly honest, I don't really think that's going to be a great option for us. I don't know. This still isn't put in place. Why are they not? Well, they're probably not doing that because I didn't tell them it was a priority. Now it's a priority. All right, take care of that. And food-wise, everything else is holding up okay. I shouldn't be too worried about it. But we do need to keep these trees cycling in and out, which is why I was hoping these lumberjacks would be just a tiny bit faster. We probably don't need this many coffee bushes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to regret having done this. So let's do this. Let's take path out. Here, here, here. This guy could possibly go somewhere else. Yeah, see, I wanted this to be able to reach. But I should have trees. Is there anywhere else I can plant trees without this getting messed up down here? Because I do really, really, really want this to be operating once they have this connected. We have so many extra beavers, it didn't really matter that this was turned on without having power. Distributed ingenuity is soaking up basically everything else. Which is fine, because, you know, we do want this. But I think I'm going to make this a lower priority so that we don't choke out everything else. I'm just struggling to remember exactly what it is I wanted to do up here. We're not gathering all of the crops that we really can. That could be an issue with farmer speed versus capacity. I have to have somewhere else to grow trees. And I know I have some down here. I question whether this is actually the best use of this space. Well, until I have to do something else. I assume... Okay, that's a dead bush. I just don't have enough clearance. See, pine trees are still going to take that. The birch trees can be planted in spaces like this. So, seeing how there's literally nothing else we're doing with this space, I'm going to plant those as birches. And then, again, just so we have something we can do with this space. Get that taken care of. Are there any birches? That was an update, by the way, that changed that. That's not something that's existed forever, so don't worry if you're one of those people that's like, hey, wait, what? Since when can you do that? Well, no, don't feel bad. It's new. Now, if a pine tree can fit here, why was that not planted? That's fine. I am going to mark this one birch for cutting because, obviously, the rest of this space, I don't know that we need to really worry about. These blueberries are functionally useless over here. I think this is probably okay. This is, or should be, bad tide proof here, although I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to go ahead and just plant oak trees. Make sure these are marked for cutting because, well, honestly, I'm going to forget this is here, and we can at least benefit from me forgetting that it's there. I'm going to leave this open for now because I don't know exactly what I'm doing with pumps. And I also want this to be connected before I do too much. Which means I need to be able to get down, so... probably the easiest thing for us to do is just come down here. And do I need to have a spiral staircase? It looks like I kind of do, because I can't detonate that. Alright, we'll do that. And then I'll have to come down here and get this. Just so I can be sure... Wow, they did all that from above? Oh, they walked in here and did it. Okay. Well, maybe, you know what? Why is the game paused? Why do I do this to myself? I don't need to pause the game to do this. I don't need to have them come down here if they can already reach this. I just thought they couldn't do it. Because this is, too far. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? No, that's not going to help. Oh, they did. They did need to do that. Well, man. It's fine. It's fine. I guess I could also have just done this. That would be a faster way. All right, we're going to let them do that, and we're going to pretend that I hadn't made questionable choices there. All right, what else? I guess triple speed's fine. Honestly, at this point, we're just waiting for materials. And I could, you know, completely go to town, cover this entire thing with industrial stuff, but I don't think we can supply it with the amount of tree space that we have. And that is, that's unfortunately just the reality of it. But at least now this is connected. And I don't think, based on the amount of planks we're consuming, that I need to have this thing turned on. I also don't think I need to have an explosives factory here. But we might as well. We have extra beavers. We can run it. Try to fill up some of our explosives even if we don't really need it right now. And just go from there. Got exactly 80 beavers. I probably should replace more of the housing with row houses. Somebody made a comment that I liked, talking about maybe putting in a huge row house tower somewhere. But what I will say is that this space right here, depending on how I wanted to do this, could actually accommodate many more beavers in the existing footprint because of the height of the row houses and the geometry below them. So this land I don't want to get rid of because, well, the underneath is kind of complicated. And I don't want to do another Project 1K thing where I have to just strip everything out and rebuild it because, honestly, that's didn't take way too much time. So, again, the vertical clearances here, for basically every spot of where this is but one, are going to allow for these row houses to be put in place. The 3 tall, if I put it on 2 of, or I guess 4 of the 6 slots that this barracks occupies, it's not going to be any sort of gain. But if I put the 4 tall ones on all 3 of the slots that this one occupies, then that will be a tremendous gain, because that's going to be 8 times 3, which is almost 2.5 times as many beavers in the same area. That's going to involve moving this around. So instead of doing all that, I know this is long-winded, I'm sorry, but I'm not that sorry. This barracks can go away and be replaced with 1 3 tall and 2 4 tall barracks for a huge increase in the quantity of beavers stored here. So let's get that unlocked. And we'll wait for them to wake up, and then we'll kick them out. But we can rebuild this very easily. This is not irrigable land, so we're not going to have any problems. All right, bye-bye, beavers. Make sure that is in the right spot, and then that goes there, and that goes there. So that is going to be 16, and that's going to be 5, so we're going to have 21 beavers in the space where previously 10 lived. That is maybe not the best thing ever, but it's a big improvement. And that's what matters, incremental stuff like that. Now, did they build this all the way through? Not quite. That's the next thing, and that's about to happen right now. So we should see this fill up about right there. And then as this continues leveling out, we're probably going to have a tiny bit come out from the reservoir. Yeah, that is sloshing. And just not only keep the mangroves irrigated, which is going to help us a tiny bit with food, but also give us some more water to pump, should we decide that it is appropriate for us to be pumping during this drought. So we've already automated these with the help of Gary 2, but we could also, instead of just relying on Gary 2, utilize with our automation a relay set to OR. Create an OR gate where if Gary 2 is active or water levels drop below a certain percentage, the pumps could kick on, if there's water available. I don't think we're going to be in a situation where that's going to be strictly necessary. But seeing that we have 1,400 water now and we have 77 beavers, generally 2.5 times is probably safe in terms of calculating water per day, which would put us somewhere in between 180 to 200 if you're counting all of the consumption for industry and the... Well, we took the engines out, actually. So 200 a day times 10.5 days very obviously is not 1,400. It is much higher. So for that reason, I think it is going to be to our advantage to pop in a relay. I don't know where. I'm going to have to find a spot that's not going to be... Oh, I can't build that there. Where can I put this? Is there a forgotten place no one's going to miss? Is that reachable? It is. Alright, so this is going to be emergency. I know I'm supposed to have a naming scheme, which means if I'm not using it, then I guess it's not going to work for me, so apologies on that. But emergency water pump. I'm going to be stupid and think that's actually a pump. Okay, we'll just say act. So, or needs to be set to... Wait, no, that's not what I should be naming this. See, I'm not good at this. We'll just say water pump activation. Or, first of it being Gary 2, then the other or needs to be the resource counter attached to water, which is... Where's the resource counter? I promise I know how to read. There it is. That needs to be attached to a path, which means I can't just shove it where something doesn't matter. This is likely to change, so I'm not going to put that there. Do I have anything up here that would make sense? I don't really see it. Okay, so right at the end here, if I have this... Oh, it's already set to water. So, I want this one to activate if the water level is below the threshold. Threshold, I will say, is 10% as emergency pump kick on. We're going to call this emergency pump start. I truncated that because I didn't think it would fit. So that will turn on if it gets below 10%. Right now we're at 23%. Currently, we have enough water in the reservoir where I don't think it's going to be an issue to wait another couple of days to turn this on. However, comma, I'm not gonna get fooled again. So I'm gonna set this to 25. So this starts now, and then where in the world did I put that relay? That's a problem. I need to remember where I did that. Is it back down here? Yes. This needs to be set to emergency pump start. So now that is on, which means I need to remap these instead of Gary 2 to be for water pump activation. And now that's turned on. Remember that these can now all pump technically from the same body of water with the help of our fill valve or whatever it's called over there. So, if these are the emergency ones, just having those three is probably okay. These ones on the top absolutely cannot be set to that. But because we have so many extra beavers, I think I'm going to tap these for water pump activation. I hope I have this set right. I am trying to genuinely learn how all this machine logic works, but I am willing to admit that I still don't really know much about it. So now I've got this. Having 9 pumps, pump for 8 days, is almost certainly going to cause this to become exhausted. However, comma, if we take a look at where I put this thing, the threshold is at 25%, so this is about to shut off. I don't have a timer attached to it or anything. This is just going to constantly kick on or off, which honestly I probably should have put a timer on it. Well, yeah, this is going to have to be on a timer. That's so annoying. I didn't want to do like a 3-step process. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. Okay, so that means I'm going to have to rewire the pumps to attach to the whatever timer. Okay, where can I Where can I even put this? This doesn't... Thankfully, this does not have to be actually attached to anything in terms of, you know, feeding a path or whatever. But it does have to go somewhere physically. And I don't have a big tank up here. I don't know, man. Where am I supposed to put this thing? While I do appreciate that they have required this to be a physical object to utilize the thing, I really struggle to do placement with stuff like this. I don't want to put it in a spot that's not going to make any sense. Sure, why not? I'm just going to put this right here. How did I have this set? Okay. Delay. I don't want an eggplant ration counter. I want it to be whatever this is. Emergency pump start. I should have named that something else. This will turn on in one tick, and it will run for 12 hours. I think that's going to be fine. Alright, so we're going to call this... Oh, man, see, I've made this so complicated for no reason. Water pump, activation, tie. There you go. Water pump activation tie. Back when graphics cards were actually possible to be purchased. You could get the 1080 Ti, and then they'd say, oh, the actual term is tie, and then absolutely nobody called it that. There we go. So that is going to get remapped to that. These are paused by the automation. They're no longer... I'm going to pause the game before I completely do something stupid. Yeah, they're about to pump every scrap of this water out, which means I am no longer going to have all 6 of these. Look, I'm learning as I go, folks. I'm very honest about this. So why did the music stop? Turn that stuff back on. It's good. There you go. Thank you. That is one thing. I have played 1,600 hours of this game, and I've never really gotten tired of the music. It's actually very, very good. Yeah, so this is... Oh, that's already dry, so I did basically all that for nothing. We got 5 days. 5 days is not going to kill the blueberries. They have a drought resistance of 9 days. Not going to kill the trees. These are already watered by something else, and 1,000 water for 78 beavers, 5.5 days is cutting it pretty close. But I think it's probably fine. Yeah, we're still really low on treated planks. Did they finish this thing yet? No, but they've gotten all the treated planks. Okay, well now's the time for us to, you know, adjust this. Oh wait, this isn't emptied all the way because it has one more block below where the... Okay, alright, no, I don't need to keep talking about that. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna put this in here. Probably, basically, any amount of any of this that I could do to blast it down, I probably need to. Just open this up like a pit at a hardcore show. I've never been to any of those. I don't need to do that. B for boom. Demolish. Get this popped in like that. Yes, please put that in an inaccessible location. Thank you. That is my favorite thing this game does. K for boom. And then once this is gone, then I can detonate this bit underneath, and then we'll just rebuild it with platforms. I'm not worried about this. That can go away. We're never going to need that. I just need space, so I can store additional water no matter where it goes. But I don't want to get rid of too much space here. I'm just creating a little bit more. K for kaboom. Step on this and make bad choices. That's up to you, but I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna not tempt them. I'm just gonna move the path back over there where they have no reason to walk on top of this. K for kaboom. Now that has granted us a slightly larger area from which to pump. We still have some water in here. Okay. 713 water. I'm gonna say, oh, why did I do that? I'm gonna say it's worth just de-automating one of these pumps. I have to remember that I've done that, but see, this is not really irrigating any of this. So here is what I'm gonna do. I've got planks. I need this to be supported, which that's the critical thing. But I don't need it to be irrigated. And if I blast this out as a tunnel, then I can also do on that, and I can do on that. That's going to give me more capacity without causing it to be a persistent outflow situation. And we can also do this underneath most of the rest of this. And I have done that in a couple of other playthroughs after the tunnels and all the terrain changes happened in Update 6. But this right now I think is going to be our best bet, even though it's going to use, you know, maybe some more resources than you might think is going to make sense. I think it's worth it, long term. Let's do this. That's also going to allow me to save one more tile in terms of where I put my pumps. And honestly, that's going to make a big enough difference where I think that's worth it. So, path there, pumps here, pump shafts here. How did they get... Okay, never mind. I literally built that there for them to do that. I need to leave that open. That there. And then I said I didn't need that to be irrigation all the way down. But, you know, that is keeping those trees alive. Maybe. Maybe I don't want to... Wait, did I? No, I did not. Alright. I'm trying to avoid making really dumb mistakes here. This doesn't have anything supporting it, so maybe this doesn't need to be a tunnel. It could just be exploded. Why? Does it always... Why does it always put stuff in a stupid location? I don't understand. I don't think I ever will. But I can save a little bit of material doing that way. Yeah, maybe I'll regret doing this. So, maybe I should just put a little bit of terrain here to keep this. You know what? It really doesn't matter, because this is supposed to have water anyway. I'm just gonna do this. We're just gonna have to live with the consequences, because I want to survive more than I want something to look perfect. So we'll put 4 pumps in there. Get that connected to there, get that connected to there. This obviously isn't, you know, blastable yet. But then I was thinking, since this is already blocked off, or there's no water here, might as well take this blockage out. Let's actually do that before water comes back in. Because then I can run the path straight across this. Yeah, that'll be easier. And then that can get me across to here, which I can then move around to the very outside if this is also going to be taken care of. If I don't need these water wheels here, and this doesn't have any outflow, unless we have overflow, then I could very, very much reorchestrate how this is set up. Okay, that sound is driving me nuts. I don't know if I want to do that today or not, but I also said this is probably only going to be a 30-episode series, and we're getting really close to that number. So maybe I'm just, you know, maybe I'm just not with it. I do like the idea of having this floodgate here at a certain height, so that's not going to be an issue. It's probably fine. Now that this is all connected together, I can actually just leave that up at 100%. Leave that up at 100%. What do I... Is this a flow gate or a fill valve? Okay. I guess this is fine. Except for that to be 0.3, I really shouldn't have this set up like this. But I do want this to be full. Yeah, this... They've complicated this in ways that I was not prepared for. I don't know, I've probably made this way too hard for myself. I'll just leave this at 1.95 for emergency overflow. And the rest of this we probably should just not bother. Yeah, I'll just make... No, I don't have any wood. Alright, so we'll use the dirt just because that's what I technically have more of. Move this around. This is Gary 2, who probably should have been moved somewhere else. But I didn't. Oh, this is dry now. Okay. Well, now it's time to put this thing back on Gary 2, so here's what it is. To get this to go high enough... yeah, I am going to have to move things, but it does me no harm to just go ahead and box this in. And again, I have dirt, but it's only four pieces per block. I think it used to be 6 a long time ago. But that is not going to be enough to do everything I want to do, but it also doesn't... I don't think it has to be dirt for all of it. Well, anyway, point being... I should be able to just do this and not have to waffle about it. Alright, so that's 16. That's 24 that I can absolutely do with no problems. And then I have to babysit this because, you know, construction order and all that. That's going to require eventually that I move these guys. But if we have these valves here and I can actually get them to... Well, one's a sluice, one's a fill valve. And I can get them to cooperate, then it's not going to matter what happens here. Well, I'll start with that, and then we'll move along. All right. This staircase has, I guess, become a very minor meme among some of you in the comments. And I'm here to say that today, it is going to go away. There you go. Problem solved. Okay. Well, I also need to make sure that I can take care of doing all of this. This is not structural all the way down to here, and we do have the technology, so why don't we start blasting, huh? Sounds like a good idea to me. I just need to get, see, doubles here and triples here. That'll help me out. That's a single. I know they can't get to this. That's not what's up for debate or discussion here. I'm just trying to get the process started. They can technically maybe do some of this from above. But also maybe not. I don't know. I shouldn't really pretend to know, so I won't. But I also need to be able to get metal block storage. How many? That wasn't the right one. 360. Okay, well this is empty. And it's going to be our kind of lifeline to getting the rest of this stuff done. So I'm hoping I can get that in place there. I'm going to have to, for the sake of, you know, actually getting in here, put that there. They can get all of that, get that there, and then get that there. I'm about 90% sure this is going to be okay. Actually, make that 75%. I'll just do this. This will actually work. Now, it's going to take a while to do that because we ran out of planks and wood at the same time. Someone very clearly did not make good choices here. Yeah, I don't really have any other options. Oh, we're waiting on metal blocks, and I only have 12. Well, at least I have scrap metal. 400 beavers. Why are we not cutting these on the... Ah, that's why. There's your sign. What about down here? Okay, I did mark those. I'm not completely hopeless. They're putting the dirt in. I guess this is just what I have to do. Just wait. It's our favorite thing ever. That's ready to be K-for-kaboomed, which means I can connect this all the way through. So, you know, it's going to be okay. We just have to figure that out. What else? What else? That's ready to be K-for-kaboomed. I guess, yeah. I know it's not our favorite thing ever, but I will, for better or for worse, just end up time-lapsing probably the rest of this drought here, and I'll talk to you when they have entered cycle 27, and hopefully we can get a whole lot more water pumped before it becomes a problem again. Alright, so we're in cycle 27. We have not technically run out of water. Not technically. But now we can actually have this, you know, hopefully properly filled up and pumping with haste. Now I have 5 vacancies because I had to turn all these pumps on at the same time. But, you know, these stayed on this entire time, which does mean water pump activation timer or TI or TI or please make GPUs not $10,000. Thank you very much. Whatever you want to call it. It worked. So now we can feel good about that as being the emergency water pump methodology thing there. And now we just have to wait for enough stuff to come out here, and it is slowly filling up. Should spill over hopefully sometime soon. That's at 0.9. There we go. Yeah, feeling like that's going to be nice. We just need more trees. So we do have some birches that are ready to be cut. I've got, theoretically, this lumberjack ready to cut. They are marked. I think we're okay. We do have this pump that is already ready to go. I probably should go ahead and pair to this thing. I will pre-automate the rest of these so I don't need to worry about it. And then that'll get us that much closer to being able to get rid of these. So, we got all of this dirt in, which is good. Because I really don't want to babysit this stuff. So getting that done now is better than the alternative. I took this out, which means I could expand the reservoir. I don't know that I really want to over here. But the bigger problem we have is that I have to increase the height here. Which means I have to be able to get a beaver who has the ability to construct or deconstruct to stand on this thing right here. Or, alternatively, we do the stupid thing and put a platform here, and then on that platform put a levee or a terrain block. I don't know that I really want to go to war with the game just to get another couple of tiles of reservoir capacity, so to protect my peace, I'm just going to do that. The only reason I've done that is because it's marginally cheaper with the resources we currently have on hand. But I will put a levee there, I guess, because those are already levees. Then these need to be... Then this is going to have to be turned... actually, I probably don't even need to have this be floodgate at all if this is flowing through here, and then the extra is coming out this, which we haven't really gotten to that point yet. So I guess we'll see. Maybe? Yeah, that's waiting on planks. Man, I could cut these pines down. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm gonna choose not to be dumb. So, it's just unfortunate. The only real way I can get much of this done is to have somebody come in here and go up more scaffolding. But, I mean, I gotta do it, so they have to be able to stand, to place this, they have to be able to stand on the level below it. Which I think means, if I'm smart with this, I can get away with doing this. Minimal wood. Yeah, that'll actually save me net planks over time. Come on, click on that, please. So this should allow me to do all of this, and then I will need to do it again over here. Although this could actually be close enough that they could stand on this. My main concern is putting this in, but I don't have to have scaffolding for that. And especially not if this water never gets any higher here. I could just take this out and put a triple floodgate in. And that can all be done from standing on the floor. So, let's put a levee here. You know, it doesn't say it's not accessible. 1, 2, 3, 4. No thumb war required. Alright. That works. I just have to babysit that. And now I can continue with all of this. And of course, like I said, we're going to remove these. That's part of the reason why I built this. This has flooded because there's not enough room for output here in a single tile. What about 0.65? Is that going to get us there? The survey says maybe. Yes. Okay. Alright. Feeling good about that. I think this is another one of those projects we just kind of have to Ron Poe peel it and come back later. Oh, this is done. Good. Wow. Yeah, that's why our well-being's 45 now. So this is actually looking pretty good. Fun, obviously, is looking bad, but this is the Iron Teeth, so that's to be expected. Just about everybody's covered by this. Wait, the bell gives a well-being boost? Then I have to listen to it. I don't want to do that. Maybe I'll put it in anyway. Really could use another campfire or two, or rooftop terrace. I don't really have a good spot for it. Mangrove fruits are kind of a lost cause, but I've got them, so why not? We're looking, honestly, we're looking pretty good. Don't have a lot of complaints. One thing that we do need to do is have a better setup for bad water, and I think the only thing I can really fit here... I guess if I had maybe done a little bit better job with how this was laid out, I could have put in... Can I get rid of that without causing problems? Maybe. I was thinking I should put a medium tank behind here. I'm not sure the hassle is going to be worth it if this is just set to be a hauler destination. Set to supply, that's probably okay. That's a cheaper solution anyway. 11 empty beds means... I know it's the middle of the night. We'll wait. We'll wait till morning. But I can get rid of this row house, which is going to push almost all of the beavers within the range of influence of all the monuments over here. Alright. Did you wake up? Did you leave? Alright. See ya. That also gives us something, you know, we can put stuff over here if we want. Which, you know what? You know what we just did is we made a spot where it's possible to put a campfire. So why don't we do that? Let's make this easy on ourselves. Put one of those there. How do I not have a swimming pool? That seems like something I should have already built a long time ago. Because I have one of these. Ooh, almost. I almost could put this here if I moved the fluid dump to be on another tile. I don't know that I can really fit that though. It might not work for us this time around. But yeah, this is a good way to use the space. I know I don't have any logs right now, but this is cuttable. Where's my nearest lumber? Oh, I should have been growing. Ah, all right. I'm going to grow birches here because I have absolutely nothing else going on. But before I get to that, I'm going to put in a. I'm going to put on a lumberjack flag. Yeah, see, that's going to be fine. I just need to do that. And these are dead, so why not? Why not? I suppose I can replant these. Honestly, farming these mangroves every 10 days for 2 logs is a pretty good use of this space if we're not going to commit to, you know, harvesting them for fruit, which... the beavers don't need to stay alive, and we do need wood pretty bad right now. I think that's going to be okay. And again, I know this isn't perfect. There's many things I've done that are less than optimal. But the most important thing is that we are still figuring out ways to get better. That is always a good idea. Yep, waiting on planks. Story of my life. See, this is probably most of our problem right here is we're still building a bunch of stuff. We gotta have water. Got to. Oh, it's already 52 minutes. Yikes. Alright, well, I guess we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. Let's put this on triple speed, and I'm going to review my notes here. We have made progress on automating some more of the industry. It's not completely automated. We did plant, technically, some more pine trees, even if it was just a couple. Or did we? Did we not? No, I planted birches and oaks over here. Okay, well, be it known that we need more pine resin long term. For now, it seems to be kind of okay. Why is that? Okay, that's fine. Let's see. We talked about moving farming over on the lower level, but for right now I think I need the production more than I need farming. The wood situation should improve because we have done a lot of construction relative to the size of the map over the past couple of episodes. I think it should stabilize decently well. The coffee's all being used. We have a full tank, and all of the coffee bushes have been harvested, so maybe I shouldn't get rid of those. We'll see what happens. In case you haven't noticed, I'm time-lapsing now. But, yeah, I can't move the excavator just yet. We did work on extending the reservoir. We connected the rivers, which is good. That's something we should have done a long time ago. And that covers most of the major points outside of the contamination barriers around the bad water source. So, yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to let them finish time-lapsing through the rest of this temperate cycle till we get that notification, and then we'll wrap things up for today. Alright, so here's our bad tide warning in 3 days on day 5, which means the 3,000 water we have right now is fine, but I'd really like that to be closer to 4 or 5. We've done reasonably well with just about everything else. I do want to take just a little bit of time here before we completely say goodbye. Put another block of dirt there. Yeah, they still haven't done anything here because we didn't have enough planks to actually build the stairs. It is what it is. K for kaboom. I'm not going to detonate this one because I need it, but, I mean, it's there. When we actually are able to get this taken care of, then we'll, of course, put all of our contamination barriers around here. But, as you know... Wait, why is this paused during a... Why is this paused during not a bad tide? Does this count as a separate season when you're in transition? Okay. That's emergency pump start. Where did I put that other one? Is it down here? I really need to pick better locations for this. Okay, so this is Gary 2. Gary 2 is on. He activates during temperate weather. So the relay is on for water pump activation because either Gary 2 or emergency pump start is on. Emergency pump start's not turned on. Oh. That was my mistake. The timer only activates from this resource counter, when it really needs to activate from... Wait, no, that's not right. Oh, what did I... What? Now I've confused myself. All right, hold on. Hold on. I can't let this go by. I have created a very complicated situation. So I have things automated to the water pump activation relay, which is what this was always supposed to be, if Gary 2 or emergency pump start is turned on. Which means I should not have automated anything to this, because this is the timer based on the counter. So this is what needs to be set to... Oh... This is what needs to be set to this, not emergency pump start. This needs to be set to water pump activation timer. That, I think, solves it. And then I... Oh, wait, no, that didn't fix it. That didn't fix it. Because this is not turned on. No. These need to be set... These need to be set to... Oh, I already forgot what that's called. These need to be set to this. Water pump activation. I don't know how I managed to make this just unbelievably complicated. This has cost us a lot of water harvested. That is a real shame. I realize this is not the game's fault. This is... I just don't understand how this works. But man, that's annoying. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much else I can do short of waiting for trees to grow. And I know we've got this here. These have been cut down. When these oaks start cycling through a little bit better, then yeah, it's going to help us a lot. We just, unfortunately, can't really do much else right now. So, that's where I'm going to leave this one. We did fix some things. We made some other things worse, but as you know, that is what happens, at least when I play the game. So, I appreciate you sticking with the series. I appreciate your advice, even if I can't always follow it, because, you know, people are saying different things. But I am trying to make this a decent series by the end. We're probably going to get to 30 episodes now because of how slow this is going. But yeah, folks like the Beard Boosters, whose names you've been seeing on the screen, are what make this possible. Subsidizing the channel so I don't have to have sponsors or any of that other stuff, or chase the algorithm, or do clickbait, whatever. I just want to have fun playing the game, and those folks make it possible for me to do so. So I'm always going to be appreciative of them and of you, even if you're not on that list. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.